Hello and welcome to the Sciatica Freedom Club. In this free training, I'm going to be showing you how I fully eliminated my back pain and sciatica using a system that I like to call the Freedom Ladder. So brace yourself, because I'm probably about to change your whole perspective on back pain. I promise this isn't going to be a boring anatomy lecture. I've certainly had plenty of those. So grab your favorite hot drink, get comfortable, get cozy, keep an open mind. A lot of what I'm going to say might make you uncomfortable, especially if you've been in back pain for a long time, but I promise you it'll be worth it. Before I get any Karens coming after me, this is not medical advice. Everything in this video is based off of my personal experience and the real results that I've helped others achieve. Now let's get into it. The most common question that I get asked is, will this work for my injury? So I just want to kind of make everything clear here. So this is for you if you've been told you have a herniated disc, bulging disc, slip disc, a spondylosis, spondylolisthesis, pars defect, wear and tear, degenerative disc disease, disc height loss. If your scans came back negative, but you still know something ain't right, this is for you as well. But most importantly, this is for you if you want a back you can ultimately trust. This is also for you if you want long-term results and to feel in control of your body again. But I'll be completely honest, this isn't for everyone. This is not for you if you're someone looking for a quick fix or after a miracle pill that's going to fix you overnight. This is not for you if you're someone who can't even bet on yourself to show up and do the work. And this is not for you if you're someone who isn't willing to learn and execute a plan. And it's not for you if you're someone who relies on magic adjustments or short-term relief. This is only for the individuals ready to learn, rebuild, and finally break that pain cycle. So thank you for being here. My name is Andrew, and yes, I'm a physical therapist. I went to physical therapy school and got a doctorate degree, but when I herniated a disc deadlifting in 2021, none of the textbook advice actually helped me. The exercises that I was taught to give my patients as a PT, I already tried them. I already knew that they didn't work. I felt like a fraud. I was in pain daily. I couldn't bend. I couldn't sit for long durations. I felt like my back was made of glass. Fast forward to today, I got no more pain, no more sciatica, haven't had a flare-up in years, and I'm back to high-intensity training, lifting, playing recreational sports. I move freely. But most importantly, I can ultimately trust my back. And if you can give me your undivided attention for the next few minutes, we're going to walk you through step by step on how you can finally break that cycle, fix your sciatica at the root, and get back to moving, training, and living without fear. Before I get into everything, I want to kind of go over a few statistics. Did you know 2 in 5 Americans will experience sciatica at... Did you know that sciatica ranks among the leading causes of nerve-related pain and lost productivity? And after helping hundreds of people with low back pain and sciatica, here are the most common traditional fixes that people try that keep them stuck in this pain cycle. I followed all of the advice. Take painkillers, rest, avoid bending, avoid any movement. You might want to get an injection to just mask your pain instead of fixing the root cause. And then he sent me to PT. I went to physical therapy, gave me a printout of generic exercises, cat camels, bird dogs, nerve glides, glute bridges, clamshells. And then I saw a chiropractor. They just wanted to realign my spine, give me short-term adjustments that might have felt good for a few minutes, a few days, but didn't actually fix my problem. I tried all of these short-term Band-Aid treatments, massage, hot pack, cold pack, some of the creams, acupuncture, weightlifting belts, spent tons of money there, but nothing helped. But all of these options, they just manage the symptoms of my injury, not actually addressing the root cause. This is the old way, and it keeps you stuck. So the question is, what's really causing your pain? Here's the truth. You have a weak back. And a weak back to me is one that has weak support tissues, is excessively stiff, is asymmetric from all that guarding and compensation, and one that's killed by repetitive irritation. And you can have all of that, even without a diagnosis. Non-specific low back pain. That's actually the most common type. And that weak back builds up over time. You're ego lifting. You're sitting for long durations of time. You're bending, twisting. All this over time loading of the spine and all of those warning signs that you get with that are things you shouldn't be ignoring. And then eventually, you will get the diagnosis and you reach the tipping point. And this is what starts what I like to call the spiral of avoidance. So imagine your spine as a piece of cake. That first layer, you have the muscles that most people know, your erector spinae, your lats. Then you go a little deeper. You have your multifidus and your rotators. Deeper than that, your deep stabilizing muscles of your spine, you have your interspinalis, your inner transversarii. And then at that base layer in the core, you have your spinal cord, intervertebral discs, and your nerve roots. So most people, when they try to fix this, they try to fix it from the inside out, where the disc is, by putting injections, nerve blocks, performing surgery. But the problem with this is they just ignore all the other layers of the back that are broken down and most likely led to the injury in the first place. Real recovery doesn't ignore these layers, it rebuilds them. Unfortunately, I learned this the hard way. I was an athlete, I was training to be a physical therapist, and I wasn't even being taught how to rebuild my back. I was just being taught how to manage pain, manage symptoms, just helping patients function. And I heard it time and time again. One of my clinical instructors on my placements during school, she told me, patients won't return to the person they were before to the point where they can truly live again. Our job is to just get them functioning. And that hit me hard. It made me realize everything that I tried in the past was just focused on managing the symptoms and not actually addressing the root cause of my problem. That's when I became my own experiment. I stopped following the sheet. I stopped focusing on just managing my symptoms. I started training my back like muscle it is, with intent, progression, and that's ultimately when everything changed for me. Instead of just managing symptoms, we go deeper, focus on the root cause. Instead of obsessing over surface level stuff like strengthening your core, strengthening your glutes, we actually rebuild your spine and address every surrounding area from the inside out. So instead of giving you a printout of exercises or generic rehab, we give you clear progression and accountability so that you always know what the next step is. And most importantly, this isn't about giving you short-term relief. It's about giving you a long-term plan. My life today looks very different when you compare it to the way it was. I'm waking up pain-free. I'm not having any stiffness. I'm not scared of bending or sitting for long durations. I'm doing everything I love, lifting weights, playing basketball, other recreational sports, all without worrying about flare-ups. I move with confidence again instead of fear. I train the way I want to, not the way that my pain allows me to. And my back feels strong, reliable, and fully under my control every single day. But it wasn't always like that. My path to freedom, pain, back to doing everything I love, it wasn't straightforward even in the slightest. I went through years of these crippling flare-ups where I couldn't even get out of bed. I spent countless amounts of money and time, energy on these failed treatments and temporary relief. I almost got to a point even where I just accepted, this is my life now and I won't get any better. And that's ultimately why I decided to build the system so I can collapse time for you and your path can look like this instead. Instead of performing generic exercises that didn't address the root cause of my problem, I started building strength, control through back extensions, and gradually progressing as I got stronger, starting at baby level 0 and progressing through the range. I was scared to bend over to pick up something off the floor, get something from the car, or bend over to tie my shoelaces. My sleep was broken throughout the night. I was waking up stiff and sore. And the worst part about everything was that anxiety when I laid in bed when I first woke up, just for those first painful steps in the morning. Now, I can train legs until they shake, not until my back tells me it's time to go. I'm not thinking about my back when I'm picking things off the floor. And the best part is, I'm actually waking up feeling refreshed and focused. I think one of the biggest shifts for me was not even being able to sit for long durations. You know, I couldn't even sit through a class or sit through a Zoom call without having to get up, stand up, walk around, just wait for the pain to even decrease a little bit. Canceling meetings. I was cutting meetings short or having to leave class early because I just couldn't tolerate sitting down. Now I sit freely. The biggest thing for me today is I'm not getting distracted anymore, wondering when the pain is just going to shoot down my leg, and my focus has just ultimately been restored. But let's be real. The biggest way to back pain isn't always physical. It's emotional. I used to be angry, withdrawn. I felt like a burden at times to my family. I was avoiding social events because I was scared of making my back pain worse. I was snapping at people. I was truly starting to hate the person that I was becoming with my pain. Not because I didn't care, but I just didn't know what to do about it. But I can promise you, when you're pain-free, you're in control, you're confident, that's when everything starts to change. You're showing up better for your kids, your partner, your friends. You can actually say yes to plans again without being fearful of making your back pain worse. But ultimately, you feel like yourself again, right? You don't feel like a burden. You don't feel like you're holding people back, You're just yourself. So what actually worked for me and my clients? What made the difference? And it all comes down to one thing: tissue tolerance. So that's your spine's capacity to withstand stress and strain from daily or athletic activities without causing pain or injury. So a lot of people think this is a strength issue, getting your back stronger. But the truth is, if your tissues can't handle that kind of load yet, then you're just asking to get injured. For example, I want you to imagine a car with a powerful engine, but it has no suspension and flat tires. This is your big guy at the gym who can lift super heavy, but they don't have the stabilizing muscles to support them. Yes, you might be able to squat 500 pounds or deadlift 600 pounds, but when it comes to the back extension, how much can you really do? It's not about having a strong core or strong glutes. It's how well your deep spinal tissues can absorb and handle the amount of load and then recover from that afterwards. Every lift, every hour that you're sitting down, every bend, twist, turn of your spine is loading your spine. And when your tissue tolerance drops below your strength, that's when normal things start to become dangerous. And that's exactly what happened to me. I went from back squats to leg presses, hack squat, to single leg exercises, or better, back supported exercises. Eventually, I just started skipping leg day because I just thought, what's the point? I'm just getting flared up every time I do legs. That's when the flare-up cycle really began. But here's the thing, no one tells you. You can actually increase your tissue tolerance. So when your tissue tolerance equals your strength, that's when you're able to run, bend, twist, train at high intensity, play recreational sports, get back to all the things you love, but you're also able to handle it and recover afterwards. So why does this work, right? Tissue heals with exposure, not avoidance. Anyone that tells you to avoid bending, avoid movement, they're just setting you up for failure. So Andrew, how do we rebuild our tissue tolerance then? Well, that's exactly where my unique mechanism comes in. Let me show you the exact steps we use to go from fragile to freedom. And that's the freedom ladder. This is the exact system that I wish I would have had years ago. It's 5 proven steps that allow me to rebuild my spine from the ground up and get exactly to where I'm at today. And each step represents a physiological change, a shift in how your back responds to stress. The first step is about building safety, reducing fear, desensitizing the nervous system, rebuilding basic movement without triggering pain. This can happen in the first few weeks, and it's probably the most underrated stage because this is where real change starts to happen. Step 2, blood flow and mobility. So pain and stiffness block movement, and movement is important for healing. So once we get the blood flow and the circulation to the right tissues, that's when you're able to decrease stiffness and start to move better. So step 3, strength. We're now starting to build real strength, the right kind. We're not just throwing weight around, we're being intelligent about it. Starting to increase the strength of the muscles that protect your joints and stabilize your spine, and the muscles that probably aren't even active in your body right now. Step 4, load tolerance. So now in this stage, your body can finally handle the stuff that used to break you. Heavy squats, heavy deadlifts, sprinting, sitting for hours on end. Life doesn't feel threatening anymore because your body can actually handle it. And finally, structural adaptation. Now we're building a new back. Ligaments, tendons, the joint, disc, the nerve. All these tissues, while they take longer to adapt, once they do, you're not just pain-free, but you have a new back. You get to be free again. And at this point, you can do things most people your age give up on. This is how you make it stick for life. And yes, this ladder works in reverse. This is how I ended up here, and it's probably why you ended up here watching this video. First, I lost structure. Joints stiffened, disc inflamed, I lost movement. Then, loads started feeling risky. Avoiding squats, avoiding deadlifts, avoiding heavy lifts. And then, my strength started fading. My form broke down, I lost control, and that led to stiffness. I stretched all day, I was tight all day, and nothing else. And then boom, I started avoiding movement, my back lost its trust. That's how I ended up with the herniation. Even sitting became dangerous. But the good news is, you can rebuild it, but unfortunately, progress is never linear like this. You're gonna have good days, you're gonna have bad days, you're even gonna have bad weeks, all right? But the trend is always up. Even only 5 reps done with proper intent creates adaptation over a long period of time. And it's the small wins over time that ultimately lead to the big result. The secret is consistency, patience, intent. If you're faithful to the time that it's gonna take, you will get to where you wanna be. This just shows you that it's possible. Nerve and muscle, these can adapt within the first few weeks, right? Tissue trust doesn't have to take a long time. And later down the line, we have things like ligaments, tendons, cartilage. These structures are a lot deeper, so it's going to take a lot longer for them to adapt. But if you're consistent, you put in the time, then even these deeper structures can show adaptation. We don't just focus on one muscle or the joint above, the joint below. We take a full 360 approach and rebuild the spine from the ground up. All you need is 45 to 60 minutes a day of commitment using my Freedom Ladder system to see the results that I've done for myself and my clients. So you've seen the stories, you now know what tissue tolerance is, I know why these traditional approaches fail, so now I want you to feel it for yourself. So right now, using any chair at home, I want you to go scoot to the edge of your chair. Yes, right now, do it with me. So you're gonna scoot to the edge of your chair, legs out open wide, back straight, hands interlocked behind your head. And you're gonna lean forward while you keep your back straight. All right, start with short holds and then gradually, as you get more comfortable, try to go a little further and hold a little longer. I want you to try 30 repetitions here. So your back might be getting a little bit uncomfortable, it might be getting a little warm, but that's just your nervous system actually being challenged again, all right? For every repetition that you go down and you get your elbows in front of your hips, that's just laying a foundation, a brick for your first lower back rebuild. And when you've completed the 30 repetitions, congratulations, that's your first win. But you can finally feel what it starts to feel like to finally load your back again, right? But that's just like a little taste into what we do in the program. Okay, you've tried everything now, you understand it. Now I'm gonna show you and give you a sneak peek on what you get with me if you were to work with me. So you'll get one-on-one support from me. I'm not a robot. You'll get real conversations, real coaching, real feedback, and that's gonna lead to the real results. You get daily coaching in your pocket, 24/7 chat access, weekly check-ins to keep you accountable, ask me questions anytime, book one-on-one calls with me anytime. Clarity creates confidence, so you're going to get a structured weekly plan that improves and changes as you improve, so that as you build tissue tolerance, we continue to progress you to where you're at. You're going to get full video demos and clear instructions, so you always know the expectation. If something's easy, we'll make it harder. If something's too hard, we'll make it easier, right? So everything in the program is always adaptable and modifiable to kind of meet you where you're at. We build it, we don't survive it, right? If you're unsure about something, send me a video, I'll give you feedback on it. If you're unsure about how to perform an exercise or the form for an exercise, I'll give you help with that. Most importantly, if your form is terrible, I'm going to tell you. This system meets you where you're at, right? Whether you want to train in the gym or if you want to do everything at home, start out 3 to 5 days a week, the system adapts and fits your life, whether you're a beginner or an advanced. This isn't just something you do after you're having a flare-up, right? This is a system designed to help you and prevent you from having the flare-up in the first place, right? We're not just managing your symptoms or helping you feel good for just a couple days. This is for long-term results and for rebuilding your back properly. So right now, for some of you, you've already decided that this is for you, And for those people, I'll show you the next steps you can take if you want to learn more. But for those of you who are still thinking, but I've already tried everything and nothing's worked, you haven't tried everything, right? Everything you've either tried has been too generic, too focused on managing your symptoms, or hasn't been addressing the root cause. Will this fit around my training? The answer is yes. In fact, this is training. The Freedom Ladder system complements your goals, whether that's playing basketball, trying to run a marathon, or even just something as simple as lifting pain-free, right? This system is implemented into what you're currently doing. But it's online, Andrew, right? Everything I've ever tried before has been in person. Like, how is this going to work? While I also completely understand that, most people are surprised at how personable the experience really is. You get 24/7 chat access to me. The one-on-one calls you can schedule at any time, right? You'll never be in a situation where you're hung out to dry. But what if I'm too far gone, Andrew, right? What if I'm too broken? Well, the truth is, the only people this doesn't work for are the ones who don't start. So the people that I've helped aren't just numbers or random patient case studies. These are real people that experience firsthand what happens when you, 1, follow a system that rebuilds trust in your spine, 2, gives you that real resilience that gives you long-term results and not just short-term pain relief, and 3, it gets you results without guessing what to do next. But I'll tell you right now, right, this isn't going to be easy. This isn't going to be just handed to you. But the life that you truly want isn't just going to magically show up someday, right? You have to go after it. And it's given me personally a life that I only could have dreamed of. So if we were to fast forward 6 months from now and you're waking up pain-free, you're lifting again, you're doing everything you stopped doing and you've got your life back, would that be something you'd say no to? So right now you have 3 choices. Option number 1, you do nothing, right? You stay on the same path. You hope your pain just magically goes away while it just takes more and more time, money, energy from your life, right? If nothing changes, nothing changes. Option 2, you try to do it yourself, right? You keep scrolling TikTok for some quick fix exercises, quick fix stretches. You bounce between PTs and chiros, hoping that someone finally gives you an answer. I wouldn't recommend that, right? It's draining. It burns you out, right? It makes you feel hopeless. And then option 3, we partner together and I walk you through the exact step-by-step system for success, right? You fast track your progress and you avoid years of trial and error, temporary fixes, and wasted money and energy on the treatments that just never addressed your root cause. And you get the exact system that I built from coaching patients, athletes, and lifters who are in the same position that you are now, scared to move, frustrated, and stuck. But before you decide, if this doesn't excite you and you don't believe that this is the next best step for you, just click away from this masterclass. You can stop watching here. No pressure, no hard feelings, no hard sell. But if this does excite you and you believe that deep down that this one-on-one online coaching system could be the next turning point for you, here are the next steps you can take. There's a book a call button below this video. Once you click it, it'll take you to my Calendly link. Choose the best day and time, whatever works best for you, for us to chat more on Zoom. And on that call, we'll discuss where you're at right now, where you want to be, the challenges you've been facing. I'll see if I can actually genuinely help you. And if I can, I'll outline an individualized roadmap so we can finally get you from daily pain to full freedom. At the end of the call, if you feel like this is a good fit for you and you want my personal coaching every step along the way, then we'll confirm your spot in my coaching system. After that, we'll onboard you into our Slack channel, which is our main means of communication. And then in the next 2 to 3 days, we'll schedule a one-on-one mobility and movement strategy call so we can hit the ground running. But if on the call, this doesn't feel like the right fit, no stress at all. We just leave as friends, but I hope to give you more clarity than you had previously. If you're still unsure, DM me the word ladder on Instagram, and I'll personally answer any questions you still might have or any other lingering thoughts. But otherwise, if you're ready to chat, feel free to book a call with me below, and we can start breaking down what your roadmap to success could look like. And again, thanks for watching. Whatever happens, I hope this has allowed you to see back pain in a different light, and if you're ready, I'll see you on the call.